The Redmi K20 series in a way is a spiritual successor to the Poco F1. But given the triple cameras and the glass builds, the price has gone up quite a bit. And with the Poco F1 receiving a price cut and starting at 18,000 rupees, a lot of buyers now face the question, is the Poco F1 worth buying in 2019? Especially after the Redmi K20 launch. Well, in today's video, let's go back to the Poco F1 and see how it holds up today. Hey guys, Ash here from C4 Retech, and if you do end up liking what you see, please don't forget to turn on notifications by hitting that bell icon. Now, I'm gonna go a different route with this video. Let me start with a spoiler. Yes, the Poco F1 is still worth it, but there are a few buts here, and we'll get to that at the end. So please stick around till then. I'll clear everything up, I promise. First, let me start with 5 reasons why the Poco F1 is still worth it in 2019, even after this phone's out. First and foremost, the chip inside. The Poco F1 is powered by last year's flagship Snapdragon 845 chip. Now that's the main USP or unique selling point of this phone. The base variant, it comes with 6 gigs of RAM, that's a nice extra, and the microSD option is just icing on the cake. So from a performance perspective, everything feels flagship grade. Regular day-to-day tasks like handling social media, checking emails, everything's fast. MIUI 10 is what the F1 is on, and true to their word, the Poco teams kept MIUI free of ads here. Upload times are pretty quick too, and even with gaming, PUBG on Ultra managed to run pretty smoothly. The back did get a little warm, but it's nothing to worry about. The gaming experience on this one is stellar. Now just having flagship grade hardware isn't enough to make for a good user experience. With the F1, Poco's been quite solid with the phone's maintenance. Like we saw in my last video, whether it's adding new functionality to the phone after it's being sold, like wideband L1 for HD streaming, or the night mode, or support for 4K 60 FPS, a lot's been done to ensure that the Poco F1 continues to run smoothly. The fact that even a year in, the Poco F1 still remains excellent and doesn't feel like an old phone with clunky software, now that's reason number 2. Number 3, the camera. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying the 12 megapixel IMX363 sensor here is better than the 48 megapixel IMX586, not at all, but the camera has come a long way since launch. The images are very pleasing to the eye, the Poco F1 does quite well, especially under good light. As you can see, the colors are rich, there's a lot of detail, and the dynamic range is impressive too. So while the camera might not technically be on par with 2019 flagship hardware, for most use case scenarios, like sharing on social media, you can't tell the difference. What? You don't believe me? Okay, see this picture? Now see this, and read the comments. Almost everyone seeing this pic thinks it's from an IMX586, ROG Phone 2, K20, K20 Pro, Realme X, OnePlus 7 Pro, all IMX586 implementations. That's how good this camera is. Now even under low light with the night mode, the Poco F1 does reasonably well. All pictures you've seen so far, they've been shot with the stock camera app, and the overall camera performance, it kind of goes up. It can be improved if you end up going with a Gcam port. At number 4, we've got battery life. Now this is what I had to say about battery in my full review. To round off the specs, we've got a 4000 mAh battery, which again is not common for phones with the 845 chip. This battery can easily last you an entire day, even with heavy use. To give you some perspective, the battery life is about 35% better than on the OnePlus 6. And while the battery life has dipped a bit given the hardware I'm using has aged, it's still good enough to get through a day on a single charge, even with intense usage. To give you perspective, I'd say the battery here is 10 to 15% better than what's on the OnePlus 7, which is not all that bad to begin with. Reason number 5, well this one's obvious, the price at 18,000 rupees for the 664 or 19,000 rupees for the 6128, the Poco F1 is offering amazing value. But we'll get to pricing in a bit. Like I mentioned at the start, there are a few buts, and let's talk about that now. The display. In 2019, AMOLED panels seem to be getting common even on mid-range phones, and we've been seeing either all-screen AMOLEDs with pop-up cameras or punch holes or very tiny dewdrop notches. But the Poco F1 has one of the widest notches on the Android side of things, which apart from being an eyesore also cuts down on notification icons that you can actually see. It's a con you're gonna have to live with if you end up choosing this phone. Additionally, this is IPS LCD. Now that's not a bad thing by itself, but IPS LCD does not have the same punchiness as an AMOLED if that's something you want. Another 2019 trend that this phone bucks, that would be the in-display fingerprint scanner. The F1 has a rear scanner that's very fast and quick, and the notch includes an IR sensor too, so face unlock is a little more accurate and snappy under low light. So that makes up for it a little bit, but it is a trade-off. The biggest con for the F1 though, it would have to be the looks. The F1 wasn't a looker when it launched, and it sure as hell hasn't aged well. The back is plastic and it's bland, and in a time of gradients, glass and even holographic backs, it sticks out. If you're one of those people who say, hey, I'm gonna put a skin or a case on my phone, then it's pretty cool, but if not, this is a pretty big negative. While I talk about the negative, I also want to point out that the Armored Edition with this Kevlar, it's one of the grippiest phones that I've used. It's so comfortable to hold and the grip's great, especially when compared to all the glass and fog glass slipperiness we face these days. Anyway, if these cons are okay with you, the Poco F1 at 18,000 rupees still remains a great buy even after the K20 series launch. Oh, yeah, the K20. I kind of left that out, didn't I? From a camera perspective, I showed you guys how good this F1 is. Now, these are side-by-sides, the Poco F1 and the K20, and as you can see under good light, there's not a lot of difference between them. Under low light, the K20 fares better and of course has the extra 2 sensors that the F1 can't match. As far as performance goes, the K20 has the Snapdragon 730, which from a CPU perspective comes close to the 845 on the Poco F1 and even betters it in some ways, but the CPU difference isn't something you're really gonna notice. The area where it matters for things like gaming, when it comes to GPU, here's where the Adreno 630 on the Poco F1 outperforms the 618 on the Redmi K20. So that's a big pro. And the build, of course, we all know how that one goes, so I'm not really going to talk about that. Battery life is more or less similar, with the K20 having a bit of an edge, and both phones support 18-watt charging, so nothing there. Now, if the K20 had launched at 19 or 20,000 rupees like a lot of us expected it to, then it could have replaced the Poco F1 as the best power to performance phone, the best one that people would choose in that segment. But given that it actually starts at 22,000 rupees for the 664, a whole 4,000 rupees more than the Poco F1, if that build, the extra cameras and the all-screen AMOLED are things you can live without, then you can still get the Poco F1, save 4,000 rupees, all while getting yourself a stronger GPU, microSD support, along with a faster and more accurate face unlock. So there you go, the Poco F1 8 months into 2019, even after the launch of the Redmi K20, it still remains a solid choice for performance-focused buyers. I really wish we'd see a Poco F2 sometime soon. Anyway, I guess that's it for this video. Hope that clears your questions up. So what do you guys think? Do you agree with what I've had to say here? What is your take? Let me know in the comments below. And thumbs up, thumbs down based on whatever you felt about this video. If you have any constructive criticism, let me know in the comments again. Subscribe, turn on notifications by hitting that bell icon if you haven't yet. Thanks a lot for watching. Till next time, my name's Ash. You've been watching C4E Tech, and I'm signing off for now. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.